Hi everybody, hi friends and family, so excited to see you guys this week. Wow, it's been a big week, a really big lesson for me that showed up that I'm excited to share with you guys. So I wanted to start out by talking about, Oprah, and I think I've even mentioned this before, how when the universe is trying to tell us something, first it starts in a whisper. And then it gets louder, and then all of a sudden, that whisper turns into a yell. The universe is yelling at you, trying to tell you something. But so many times we just, we're going through life and maybe we're just not listening. And so for me, the universe was 100% yelling at me this last week. So how it showed up for me was in two ways. So the first way is, as you guys know, I was getting ready to have my big, launch party with Rodan and Fields on this past Saturday. And a lot of things were happening in a good way, but then there were definitely some signs from the universe that were making me think, okay, maybe I need to postpone this, including the fact that, Rodan and Fields had pushed back their launch date. So, I made the really hard call. I listened to the universe, followed my intuition, and said, okay, this is a hard thing to do, but I'm just going to postpone it. And then the other way that I felt like the universe has been kind of yelling at me this week was with my son Levi and some things that are happening with him at kinder. And it kind of gets to this point sometimes where I now, looking back in the last week, think to myself, like, what else needed to happen for me to actually listen? Like, how bad are things going to get? But I think so many times we get this tunnel vision and we get stuck thinking something has to be a certain way, And I know I totally do that. I was feeling that way. But the reality is that it doesn't need to. Like, you are in control of your life. You get to make these decisions. If something isn't in flow, and if something isn't working, you make the call. And you know what? It's like when I was in 5th grade, I was going to a private school. I was totally miserable. I hated it. And I said to my parents, there was a new public school opening up for middle school or year 6. And I said to my parents, you know what, I am not going back to that school. You will have to drag me there by my toenails to get me back there. And they didn't, they listened to me, which I'm really grateful of. But, that's a hard call, right? Like pulling your kid out of a school, making those big changes. But what I've learned in my life is when I made that change to go to the school, it was huge. It was one of the best things that, I ever did for myself. I'm glad that I stood up to my parents and made that decision. But I think when we, jump overboard, it's totally scary. It's scary for everyone. But in my experience, when we do jump overboard, like there's that lifeboat waiting for you. And, if you can really trust in that and believe that, the universe will rise up to meet you, then, great things can be waiting for you. But, if you're in something and you're stuck, and it could be like a big thing or it could be a little thing, like you need to postpone something, or you just need to walk away from something that isn't working, but believe in yourself, listen to what, like, the universe is telling you, whispering, talking, yelling at you, and believe in yourself and that you're in control. You can make these decisions that can really, truly change your life. It's up to you. All right, guys, good to see you this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. See you guys. Shine bright. Bye, everybody.